World News Today, October 6th, 2025. YouTube script. Opening hook. What do a synagogue attack, a government showdown, and Taylor Swift dominating the box office have in common? They're all making headlines today. From tragedy in Manchester to political chaos in Washington, we've got the 10 biggest stories shaking up the world right now. I'm bringing you everything you need to know in the next few minutes. So let's dive straight in. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is October 6th, 2025, and if you're just catching up with what's happening around the world, you're in exactly the right place. We've got international news, breaking stories from across the United States, sports shakeups, and even some Hollywood surprises. Let's get into it. Story number 1, Manchester Synagogue Attack Funeral. We're starting with a somber story from the UK. Hundreds of mourners gathered today to pay their respects to Melvin Cravitz, a 66-year-old victim of last Thursday's devastating synagogue attack in Manchester. The BBC reports that the funeral drew members from across the community, coming together in grief and solidarity after this shocking act of violence. Cravitz was remembered by family and friends as a devoted member of his community, a loving father, and someone who always put others first. This tragedy has sent shockwaves through Manchester and beyond, reigniting conversations about security at places of worship and the disturbing rise in anti-Semitic incidents across Europe. Our thoughts remain with his family and everyone affected by this senseless attack. Transition. From the UK, let's shift gears and head to the world of American college football, where some massive upsets are rewriting the rankings. Story number 2, college football rankings shakeup. If you're a college football fan, you might want to sit down for this one. According to ESPN, preseason number 1 Texas and preseason number 2 Penn State have both completely dropped out of the AP Top 25 rankings. Yes, you heard that right. Out of the top 25 entirely. Both powerhouse programs suffered shocking early season losses that have completely upended everyone's championship predictions. Meanwhile, Miami has surged back up to the number 2 spot, and the entire college football landscape is looking completely different than anyone predicted just a few weeks ago. This is shaping up to be one of the most unpredictable college football seasons in recent memory. Fans are either celebrating or crying into their jerseys right now, and honestly, that's what makes this sport so incredible. Anything can happen on any given Saturday. Now, shifting to some sad news from the entertainment world. Story number 3, Ike Turner Jr. passes away. TMZ is reporting that Ike Turner Jr., son of music legends Tina and Ike Turner, has passed away at the age of 67. Details surrounding his death are still emerging, but the loss of another member of the Turner family is hitting the music community hard. For those who may not know, Ike Jr. was the son of the iconic duo who defined an era of rhythm and blues and rock music. While he lived much of his life outside of the spotlight compared to his famous parents, he remained connected to the music industry throughout his life. This comes just a couple of years after his mother, the legendary Tina Turner, passed away in 2023. The Turner family has left an indelible mark on music history, and our condolences go out to all who knew and loved Ike Jr. Transition. 240. Let's move to the Middle East now, where diplomatic efforts are ramping up. Story number 4, Gaza hostage situation, 245 to 325. Former President Donald Trump made headlines today by stating he believes hostages held in Gaza will be freed very soon. According to the BBC, this statement comes as international mediators prepare to travel to Egypt for talks beginning Monday. Despite these diplomatic efforts, airstrikes have continued in Gaza over the weekend, complicating an already tense situation. The hostage crisis has been ongoing, with families desperately waiting for news about their loved ones. Trump's prediction of an imminent breakthrough is certainly optimistic, and many are hoping he's right. The question now is whether these talks in Egypt will produce tangible results, or if this conflict will continue to drag on. The international community is watching closely, and we'll definitely be keeping you updated as this story develops throughout the week. Back here in the United States, tensions are boiling over in Chicago. Story number 5. Chicago Border Patrol shooting. Things got extremely heated in Chicago when a protester was shot by Border Patrol agents who claimed they were ambushed by a convoy. According to ABC News, this incident occurred during demonstrations that have been ongoing in the city. The details are still coming together, but what we know is that Homeland Security has now requested National Guard support in Chicago despite the protests, or perhaps because of them. This shooting has sparked outrage among activist groups and raised serious questions about the use of force and the presence of federal agents in major American cities. This is a rapidly developing situation, and conflicting accounts are emerging about what exactly happened. The protesters' condition and the circumstances leading up to the shooting are all under investigation. This is definitely a story we'll be following closely in the coming days. Transition. And speaking of federal issues, let's talk about what's happening in Washington. Story number 6. Government shutdown looming. If you thought government shutdown drama was a thing of the past, think again. Kevin Hassett, an economic advisor, warned today that there will start to be layoffs if President Trump decides that shutdown talks have stalled. CNBC reports that Democrats are standing firm on their health care demands, specifically pushing for a permanent extension of enhanced premium tax credits to be included in the funding legislation. Republicans and Democrats are once again at a standstill, and federal workers are nervously watching the calendar. We've been through this dance before, right? The question is whether both sides will find common ground before the deadline, or if we're heading for another government shutdown that could affect everything from national parks to passport processing. Federal employees are understandably anxious, and the American people are, frankly, tired of this recurring political theater. From political tensions to a heartbreaking story of violence in Alabama. Story 7, Montgomery, Alabama shooting, 5 to 5:40. This is a tough one. NBC News reports that at least 2 people were killed, including a teenager, and 12 others were wounded in a shooting in downtown Montgomery, Alabama, on Saturday night. This happened while the city was hosting several weekend festivities, with crowds gathered for what should have been a celebratory time. Instead, families are mourning, victims are recovering in hospitals, and a community is once again asking why. Mass shootings have become a tragically familiar headline, but each one represents real lives lost, real families destroyed, and real communities traumatized. Montgomery police are investigating, and we're still waiting for information about suspects and what might have motivated this violence. The fact that a teenager is among the dead makes this especially heartbreaking. These stories never get easier to report, and they shouldn't. We need to remember that behind every statistic is a person, a family, a future that was stolen. Let's shift to some entertainment news that's considerably lighter. Story number 8, box office battle. Taylor Swift continues to prove she's basically unstoppable. Variety reports that her new film, The Release Party of a Showgirl, absolutely dominated the box office this weekend, raking in an impressive $33 million in its opening weekend. Meanwhile, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's The Smashing Machine didn't quite live up to expectations, bringing in just $6 million, which is being labeled as a bomb by industry standards. Now, I don't think anyone really doubted Taylor's pulling power at this point, but going head-to-head with The Rock and coming out on top, that's seriously impressive. This continues Swift's incredible year and proves that her fan base will show up for literally anything she does. As for The Rock, well, even the biggest stars have misses. The Smashing Machine just didn't connect with audiences the way his team hoped it would, but knowing Dwayne Johnson, he'll bounce back. He always does. For the sports fans still with us, let's talk NFL. Stash story number 9. NFL Week 5 predictions, 6:30 to 7. Week 5 of the NFL season is upon us, and CBS Sports has released their expert picks, predictions, and betting guide for all the games. If you're into fantasy football or just trying to figure out which games to watch this weekend, Sportsline's top experts have broken down all the matchups. We're now at the point in the season where we're starting to see which teams are legitimate contenders and which ones are pretenders. Injuries are piling up, rivalries are heating up, and every game is starting to feel crucial for playoff positioning. I won't spoil all the picks here. You can check out the full breakdown at the link in the description below. But let's just say there are some surprising predictions that might have you rethinking your fantasy lineup. Whether you're a casual fan or a serious bettor, this is must-read stuff before kickoff. And finally, we're heading back to the political arena with a story about federal overreach. Story number 10, Portland National Guard blocked. Rounding out our top 10, the Associated Press reports that a federal judge in Oregon has temporarily blocked the Trump administration from deploying National Guard troops in Portland. U.S. District Judge Karen Immergut, who is actually a Trump appointee, which makes this particularly interesting, issued the order Saturday in response to a lawsuit brought by the state and city. This is part of a larger pattern we're seeing with the current administration attempting to deploy military and National Guard forces in cities experiencing protests or civil unrest. Oregon officials argued that this deployment was unconstitutional and an overreach of federal power. The temporary block doesn't mean this is over. It's likely heading for more legal battles. But for now, Portland will not be seeing National Guard troops on its streets. This is yet another example of the tension between federal authority and states' rights, a debate that's as old as America itself, but feels especially relevant in 2025. And that's your wrap-up of today's top 10 stories from around the world. From tragedy to triumph, from politics to pop culture, October 6, 2025 has given us a lot to think about. Before you go, I want to know, which of these stories surprised you the most? Are you Team Taylor Swift or Team Dwayne Johnson at the box office? And what do you think about the government shutdown drama? Are you worried, or is this just more political noise? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I actually read them, and I love hearing your perspectives. If you found this news roundup helpful, please smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow. And if you're new here, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our daily news coverage. We're here every day, bringing you the stories that matter, explained in a way that actually makes sense. Thanks so much for watching. Stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll see you tomorrow with another round of the world's biggest stories. Take care, everyone. End screen. Visual, subscribe button animation, suggested videos, social media handles, total runtime, approximately 8 minutes, 40 seconds. Note, script includes natural speaking pauses and timing. Adjust pacing as needed for your personal delivery style.